I wanted to go ahead and spend just a few minutes explaining the NVD or National Vulnerability Database activity that is due this week. So for this activity, you're going to go investigate in the National Vulnerability Database that's provided in that link and go find one that has been posted in the last 3 months. So this could be related to software or hardware that is so typically a vulnerability is something that has not been patched yet, right? And so once a vulnerability has been patched, then it gets marked as resolved. I want you to go to the vulnerability database. You'll go out to the link provided in that slide deck and also in Moodle, and then you're going to go to under vulnerabilities and look for search and statistics. And from here, you can, if you want to look for something that's happened in the last 3 months, you can. You can also look based on keywords. So if you wanted to just look for something specifically to Windows, you could. And look for a vulnerability that's been identified in the last 3 months, okay? So when you find that vulnerability, so I'll click on one here as an example. Let's look at this one specifically. So this deals with the Docker software that allows local privilege escalation. So it allows someone to have administrative access, right? So what I want you to do is to categorize that vulnerability, right? So either lack of input validation, an unverified upload, buffer overflow, cross-site scripting, missing authorization, unencrypted data, or some other one that doesn't fit into one of those buckets. Summarize the vulnerability. So don't just copy and paste it from the NVD entry, but summarize it. What software is affected? How does an individual exploit it? Typically, that detail is going to be very vague in the NVD database because they don't want other people looking for them and then actually exploiting them. So expect that to be very vague in how that's done. Look for additional research on this. Use Google, see what other people are doing, see what other information you can find beyond just the NVD entry. Identify and tie this back to what organizational risks are exploited, right? So if it's escalation of privileges, then they have admin access potentially to that server. So what does that mean? What data could be at risk? What could happen as a result, right? And then go look at the different models of security, the operational model of security and or the layered security approach. What could you do in order to mitigate the risk, right? Or what technical controls could you put in place? Or also what procedures or policies could you employ to try to mitigate or reduce the risk of that vulnerability being exploited? Again, this is during the time in which the vulnerability exists and the patch has not yet been released or been applied. Create a short Google slide deck, 5 slides or less. Keep it in that time frame, and then after you post it, I do want you to comment on at least one other person's work. Use the labs channel in the Slack group to do this, and also use the threads feature in when you're commenting on somebody else's work to keep all of their pieces together. Okay, so that explains the NVD activity that is due this week.